Hello everyone, welcome to the When It Worked podcast. You're with the host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic John Serben. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks, Julian. Glad to be here.
Awesome. All right, well, we know what's happening. We're going to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And then we're going to talk to John. Are you ready, John Serben?
I am ready.
Okay. According to the U.S. Naval Observatory, the average length of a calendar year is 365 days and what? 4 hours, 56 minutes and 23 seconds, 5 hours, 49 minutes and 12 seconds, 6 hours, 18 minutes and 48 seconds, 7 hours, 22 minutes and 36 seconds. This is extremely tough, but John, as a veteran, I'm wondering whether you might know this.
Well, I think the answer is A.
Do you need a lifeline?
Nah, let's just shoot for it.
Let's shoot for it. Unfortunately, that's incorrect, John.
Oh.
Yes, should have used that lifeline. I was wondering if you're in the Navy, and then if they even teach you that in the Navy. What part of the military were you in, John?
I was actually in the Army, so we didn't have to learn stupid things like that.
Yeah, there you go. You just need to shoot people. Sort of. And other things. Awesome. Well, now, John, how long ago was that? When did you get out of the Army and into the world of business?
So I got out of the Army back in 1991.
Gotcha. And what did you do after that?
I spent 30 years in the insurance industry in various roles, producing, managing, training. And then after I left the insurance industry, I started a coaching franchise.
Interesting. And the insurance industry is very tough, and for new people to get a foothold in. And were you basically selling insurance policies?
For the first about 20 years, I was selling, and in the last 10, I was coaching and training, helping agents be more successful, teaching them how to manage their agency, hire, and general sales techniques.
And why do people need a coach? Do we need a coach? And what type of people need a coach?
Well, anyone that's trying to manage and run a business probably needs a coach. A coach helps them with accountability, helps guide them towards achieving their goals. One of the challenges that too many people have is they go and they get started in a direction, and then the business takes them somewhere else and they can't stay on focus. So a coach helps you stay focused and keep moving forward. Yes,
it does. Certainly does. And it just kind of breaks you out of the funk and gives you some key things to stick to and gives you accountability, which you just currently do on your own. You just kind of run your own kind of show, and often there's things that are not optimal in what you do. That's why I like coaches. And what's the difference between a coach and a consultant?
A consultant's usually brought in to just fix a single problem, and a coach is someone there to help guide you in a longer term. And consultants will often find problems to continue working with you, whereas my goal as a coach is to get you to fire me, get you to the place where you're so successful you don't need my help anymore.
Yes, that's right. That's good. Get you up and running. And the other question I had for you: do you ever get people? That want to get the value of coaching quantified? Like do they ever ask you what kind of dollar amount can you bring to my business? And or do you avoid that question, or how do you answer that?
Well, certainly I do get that question, and I don't avoid it, but the answer is it all depends upon how hard you want to work. Like any other thing, you get out of it what you put into it. Some clients really want to do the homework and follow through and learn and grow, and they see successful results. Coaching as an industry typically generates somewhere around a 60% increase in revenue. We can almost always find an additional 1 to 1.5 times growth for a company if they're willing to do the work and follow through.
And what are some of the key things that are pretty standard for the people that you work with, things that need to be improved or even introduced to the business?
A lot of people, make a business plan when they first start out, and they get going. They're starting on their business, and then they fail to continue to update that business plan as their business grows. So we do a lot of strategic planning, making sure that they know where they're heading, and making sure that they have a sharp focus on what they're trying to accomplish. A lot of times people say things that are real vague, like, I want to earn more money, or I want to double my revenue. Well, doubling your revenue sounds great, but if you're not doubling your profit along with it, all you're doing is creating extra work. So it's bringing those items into focus and making sure that they're tracking in the directions they want to be.
Do you ever find that the culture, I guess, needs changing, and the companies have a problem with building a team around them, and how do you address that?
Yes, sometimes there's a personality conflict. I try to interview all my clients beforehand and make sure we're going to be a good fit. I mean, not everybody works well with everybody. Sometimes I can be a little flippant and bit of a smart ass, and not all personalities enjoy that. So sometimes you have to find the right coach to make the right fit. And as far as building the teams, a lot of that comes from the initial hire. After COVID, a lot of people were really challenged with just filling positions. People weren't willing to re-enter the workforce. So too many businesses were hiring people that weren't necessarily right for the role. We try to eliminate that by doing pre-hire assessments. So making sure if you're looking for somebody that's going to be in a sales role, they actually have some sales skills and some personality that leads them in that direction, versus somebody that's more of a technician, or somebody that wants to deal with numbers and service work.
Yes, they're two different types of people, aren't they? And there is some overlap. Like the salespeople need to know some technical stuff, but the actual selling part is kind of like this mysterious thing that certain people seem to have and other people don't have. And how do you help build sales teams in terms of, I guess you look for people that have sales experience, but how do you, not everyone that has sales experience is good at sales. How do you find people that you think are going to be good salespeople?
So I look for people that are outgoing and have a good ability to influence. People have a good personality and are willing to have conversations. Probably the most challenging thing that salespeople face is asking for the check, or asking for the money to complete the sale. Lots of people are willing to sit down and have that conversation. But so you have to kind of put them through a few tests to make sure they're willing to ask that tough question at the end of the time. What's it going to take to close this deal? How do you want to get started? Would you like to do that on cash, check, credit card? When would you like the first order delivered? Those questions. Not everybody has the ability to ask those at the end of the interview.
Yes, coffee is for closers, as they say, and you've really got to have that part sorted out. And what's the process if people want to work with you, John? You have a business growth score. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, excuse me, you go online to my website, click on the business growth score, and it asks various questions depending on your industry. And it kind of tells you where you might need some help. So it asks things like, are you happy with the amount of time you're spending at work? Are you working too hard? Are you happy with your revenue and your sales? And as you get through the questions, it develops the algorithm develops a score and says, congratulations, you're doing really well in this area, but you probably could use some coaching and some help in this area over here.
And what type of people probably are the best to work with you? What type in terms of business and business size and niche, I guess?
Sure. So I work with a lot of professionals that are really excellent in their technical skill, insurance agents that are really great salesmen, financial advisors that are really great salesmen, dentists that are really wonderful dentists, doctors that are great doctors. But a lot of those people don't have the actual skills to manage their business. Sometimes it's certainly different in talking to a client or a patient than it is in talking to a team member and making sure your team members are on the same page. So those are the type of industries I work best with. helping them develop those communication skills within their business to better increase their overall performance.
Yes, it's almost as if the more specialized and incredibly skilled the person is, the worse they are at running a business. Like doctors and medical professionals, like they're saving lives, but they are utterly clueless at times with talking to staff and running a business. So, but would you say finance and insurance is the majority of the people you work with?
It is. That's where my background came from, and so it's easier for me to help them grow. I know their languages. I know their acronyms. When they start talking about different things, I understand it. So I really work well with them, and we have a lot of success in that area.
Awesome. Well, if you want to have a chat with John, I've got all these details in the show notes. Do the business growth score, and start getting a bit of a map for improving what you're doing, and also the accountability and all of that. A little bit short today because the game was short, but thank you very much, nevertheless, John, for coming on.
Thank you, Julian. I appreciate it. I guess I should have used a Lifeline. That's what I get for being a little smart athlete.
The last couple of questions have been very hard for the. I've got them all sorted as the easy questions to go first, but they don't seem to be easy, so I don't know what's going on there. Nevertheless, you had a crack, and thanks for coming along and having a chat. John Serben.
Great. Thank you, Julian. Have a great day.
Thanks, John. See you, everyone.